Starts the webinar. We'll wait for a few seconds and let the participants join in, and then we'll start.
Understood. Yeah.
Shall we start?
Yeah. All right. So good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the IIMA Public Policy Alumni Special Interest Group webinar series. As many of you know, the Alumni Special Interest Groups at IIMA are platforms that bring together alumni, faculty, and students and leverage the collective intellectual resources engaged in several areas to bear on some of the most challenging issues of our times. The ASIG platform allows the institute community and the industry to collaborate with each other much more intimately and to engage with industry and practitioners in a much more multifaceted manner. The IIMA Public Policy ASIG is a group of alumni and faculty of the institute with expertise and interest in the fields of public policy and development. And it fosters collaboration among the IIMA community and the wider world of public policy practitioners to contribute to India's inclusive development agenda. An important activity of the alumni special interest groups are the webinar series, which bring the thoughts, views, and expertise of renowned experts to the IIMA community. Today's discussion is as part of the webinar series on the cryptocurrency and regulation of official digital currency bill. As part of this series, we have earlier addressed crypto in India from a few perspectives already, such as the legal perspective with Mr. Ashim Sood, Supreme Court lawyer, the industry perspective with Mr. Sumit Gupta, CEO CoinDCX, the policy perspective with Shri Subhash Chandra Garg, ex-finance secretary. And today we will be exploring that a bit more from the startup perspective. To do that, I'm happy to welcome Sandeep Nailwal, co-founder of Polygon. Sandeep has been involved with many tech businesses since his very early days. Scaling is Sandeep's key focus, be it business or blockchains, but he's a all-round business buff. Sandeep had his light bulb moment about revolutionary nature of blockchain in 2017 and found his calling in the scalability arena and co-founded Matic Networks, now called Polygon, alongside Jayanti Kanani and Anurag Arjun. As co-founder of Polygon, Sandeep is based out of India with his tech teams. His main responsibilities include spearheading the branding, marketing, adoption, and operations at Polygon, and partnering with key stakeholders to push forward the vision of Polygon. In conversation with him, we have Mr. Kamal Gaur, blockchain expert, IIMA PGP 2004. Now I hand over the platform to Kamal to take over the proceedings.
Sure. Thanks. Thanks, Anurag, and welcome once again, Sandeep.
Thank you so much for having me here, Kamal.
Sure. And yes, thank you for taking out time. I realize it's a hectic life for you now. So as we get started, right, can you spend maybe a couple of minutes helping the rest of us who are not in the crypto space, or at least the crypto startup space, to get an idea as to how hectic is life? I mean, and tell us a little bit more maybe about the vision of Polygon and what is it that you're doing, and what is life like these days?
Yeah, so I mean, in terms of the hecticness of this industry, I think this industry is immensely rewarding, but that also makes the industry extremely stressful also, because I mean, I generally give an example that the most stressful industry generally, traditionally, we say is the finance industry, right? The investments and whatever various parts of finance industry, and then the other more other stressful industry, other part of the stressful industry would be this tech business like neo or deep tech, and then crypto is a merger of amalgamation of these two. So and then that combined with the unstoppable and 24 cross 7 cross 65 nature of blockchains, and this whole industry makes it very very stressful, because at one hand everybody including the developers and researchers are thinking about building cutting edge infrastructure technology, or looking to build applications and things like that. And on the same side they have to kind of keep an eye on the markets, which are extremely volatile, right? So, and then combined with the regulatory uncertainty globally, um, and the very very kind of new or kind of a early stage or nascent stage of the industry, it makes it all very very stressful. So that's one part. And then the other part of being, especially being a token startup, the other part which is very very stressful is that when you are doing a traditional startup, you of course you have all these startup shenanigans and problems and all that, everything with that. But then if you are lucky, you grow and you slowly go into your series A, series B, and things like that, and eventually you do an IPO. Whereas in for these token startups, for good or for bad, the token startups generally launch on day zero, like where you have a 5 people 10 people team, and then immediately your token is launched, and then it's public. And it's not like when we say public in the traditional space, probably you have to provide a quarterly report and things like that. Here you have to for your community, you have to provide every minute report, right? I mean, anything that happens on your platform, because it's like all open source and everything is on chain, you can see. And there are like analysts, they will be watching constantly. Anything wrong happens there, or you move your tokens or treasury or things like that, you will get so many questions fired up against you. So operations is also very difficult. Being a private company, you have a lot of liberty to do, but being a startup and public on day zero, it kind of creates even more sort of problems on that front. So it's very very hectic. Your second question, I think, was regarding Polygon's
Vision.
vision. So at Polygon, we started from very humble beginnings. We did not have many VCs to support us, because India was not like, I mean, there were 2 3 startups back in 2017 which raised a lot of money, but then ended up kind of becoming scams and things like that. So nobody really trusted on Indian startups, and it was very hard for us to raise venture capital. I think that was the time also, like I kind of made it my personal mission also, and I'm very happy today. Like there's huge amount of money flowing into Indian ecosystem, especially on the Indian crypto ecosystem. No, so we started with that, and then it was difficult to do the company, I mean, do a startup from India, especially that too, like in a deep tech infrastructure startup. It was very very kind of difficult for us. But then we kind of hustled through, kind of kept working, build the ecosystem. Took, like everybody used to say that in being in India is your handicap and is a disadvantage, and sort of like somehow with hard work we were able to convert that kind of adversity into opportunity, because India is the software developer factory of the world. So all of those things like slowly have taken us to a place where we are today, globally top 20 projects in the world. As of today, right now, I think the token or the company, or the, like, basically the network is worth around $15.5 billion. And it's by far the India's biggest startup. And then where we are, like, in the crypto space, and the way we are on, and the direction where we are going is that we in terms of the infrastructure, there is one technology called zero knowledge technology for
Proof,
zero knowledge
ZK proof.
cryptography. Yeah, zero knowledge cryptography, and we feel that that is the ultimate end game for this blockchain scalability industry. And for that, like we have kind of kind of consolidated our strategic efforts into that. We recently announced a $1 billion fund just for the zero knowledge stuff, and we have already completed around three to four acquisitions on that, already approaching 700 $800 million. So, and we'll keep putting more fire to fire to the fury, or whatever you would want to
Sure.
call it, in terms of the zero knowledge technology. Today with Ernst and Young, we are also foraying now into enterprise space. I think a lot of audience here might appreciate that, and we are strategic partners with the Ernst and Young Global Blockchain entity, and we are looking to bring more and more enterprises now on blockchain. Like till now, there is a lot of jargonization, and has been a lot of hype cycles on that. But we feel that now we are just approaching that cusp in the next 12 to 18 months, where enterprises will really start exploring all of this. That's where we're going.
Got it. And do you think that in the crypto space, especially the international scene, what's your view on how collaborative the whole space is, right? Obviously, the entire industry is nascent. So do you think there's more collaboration that happens, or do you think there's still this edge of competition that overrides any collaboration that would happen?
I think on a local level or at the global level also, like crypto is generally very synergistic. Like, generally, unless and until you are actually fighting for the exact same target segment, crypto businesses are very, very synergetic in that sense. And especially these are global also. So globally, I feel like it's like very, very collaborative environment. Locally also, I feel that Indian crypto community is fairly collaborative here also. I think that that kind of competition and all those things, because it's very nascent industry right now. There is like, we have not reached the saturation where there are only few pockets and everybody is gunning for, or so many people are gunning for same part of the pie. I think till now it's largely collaborative.
Got it. Okay, so the other question I have is around just looking at crypto as a new emerging space, and then looking at the entire existing financial ecosystem, right? And you have a bunch of startups in the financial ecosystem, the fintechs, right? Paytm, Google Pay, Phone Pay, and the others. Do you see a role for the fintechs coming from the traditional market, overlapping and integrating over to the crypto space, right? And if so, what sort of future do you see where fintechs from the traditional ecosystem are making a play in the crypto space, or vice versa?
Yeah, so I think this is like almost, I feel like it's almost inevitable now. And we are already seeing so many things happening on the web 2 level. Although I'm not sure, especially in India context, I'm not sure how much I can share, because many of those things are still under the wraps. But globally, like especially there is something called NFTs, right? And I'm not sure how many people understand NFTs in the audience, but NFTs are essentially these are called non-fungible tokens, right? So your currencies and all that stuff is basically fungible tokens. Like, for example, your 10 rupees note is fungible, right? Every 10 rupee note carries the same value. But non-fungible is basically something which is which is unique. So in the real world, let's say your car or your house is essentially unique, even though it is created in the same way, but the kind of memories and things like that you are having is very different. Similarly, art, you can see, so art is like a simple painting with like few colors in this, and only three lines can be selling at $1 million. You would not even realize that why this carries this much value. So this is about the unique assets. So basically, NFTs are the representation of unique assets on blockchain, and NFT space has become so big that there are 2 3 departments in that. So one is basically NFT art. So in the NFT art segment, You guys might have heard, some of you, that some of the crypto punks, which are nothing but 16 kb, like
Yeah,
profile pictures and all that, and then they are like, I think the costliest one right now stands at $200 million, like one single crypto punk, the rarest crypto punk. And there is, like, this industry has done, like, probably in the last 6 months itself, around $3 to $5 billion worth of revenue, in terms of people buying and selling these assets. Similarly, on the gaming side, Axie Infinity is one game which recently broke out, and they have done, I think, revenue of, they have a hit rate of, like, or revenue hit rate of around like $400 million, something like that, which is, they are already, even with very small number of users, in terms of the revenue, they are kind of reaching the levels where the topmost games in the world, the kind of revenue they create, like monthly revenue. I'm talking about $400
right.
million monthly revenue and things like that. And I think they've done, even within this year, only 3, 4, 5 months, more than $2 billion worth of revenue. I think the reason for that is that these unique assets we have, in our lives. And we Indians are not really into collectibles, right? Like,
Right.
US people spend a lot of money for that ball, like, signed by some star and all that. I think the reason for that is that in India, even in US it's there, but then the laws are slightly stricter. So you don't have too much of piracy in these things. In India, like, if I tell you that, okay, this is the T-shirt owned by Sachin Tendulkar, you probably won't believe, and you'll think, oh,
Correct.
you get a lot from Chor Bazaar, in various areas. So, but with NFTs, you can actually on-chain certify, like, it doesn't matter like what T-shirt you are wearing, but if there is a QR code which actually says that, okay, this is the item which is, this on-chain, and this is the price of that item, that you have those bragging rights, like you actually got something from Sachin Tendulkar, whatever, that is signed by Sachin Tendulkar, things like that. So one is that one, this solves that piracy problem, and that's why these NFTs are, going big. The second thing is, it also provides a secondary market to you. So in India, like, if you buy this, like, you are also, like, we Indians are very, kind of still, I mean, we are just coming from like a very long journey of, being a socialist, country which doesn't have too much of disposable income, into, like, now more of a capitalist industry, and, like, slightly more prosperous. So people will have more disposable money, but then we are always very kind of calculative of how, if I want to exit out of it, how can I exit and all that. And I think NFTs with global markets are also offering that. So I'm hopeful that Indian markets will also pick up,
Got it.
traction in terms of these NFTs and collectibles, hopefully. And we are already seeing, like, cricket, Bollywood, celebrities, everyone looking to get into NFTs. So yeah, I mean, NFTs have been a big kind of, I mean, I generally call NFTs as Trojan horses of crypto industry to pull everyone into crypto. So it's
Fair
very,
enough.
I
Yeah.
think.
I think that's a valid way of looking at it. So the other question I had was, if you look at the global regulation over the last few years, right, you are seeing that there have been countries like Japan and Korea which were open to crypto, right? But after, I think, a few years, they are also now coming out with regulations and trying to restrict crypto, and trying to introduce KYC, AML, all those guidelines, right? So what is your view as to what do you see the future of the space evolve into? Do you think it will be as integrated as everything else with the financial ecosystem, and every transaction will have its own traceability with KYC, AML? Or do you feel that um, there is a way that you can go back to um, the original vision of, say, Bitcoin and some of the other privacy coins, which were to stay anonymous or pseudonymous, right? So how do you see the space evolving?
Yeah, so there are a couple of things I want to mention over there, and especially because, here, maybe in the audience, there will be people who will be related to the policy making and things like that, right? So the first thing is that, and this is a very common misconception, that, blockchain and Bitcoin and, crypto provides you anonymity. I would say that actually it is much more risky to do anything if you are if somebody is trying to do this money laundering or some illegal stuff. If you do it on Bitcoin, you are screwed, because forever that transaction is on chain, and somebody or the other somewhere with some footprint where your transaction came in are able to detect that which IP address this transaction came, and your identity can be easily taken out. In fact, FBI or some US law
Yeah.
enforcement agencies, they said that it's actually very good. And then in US, the people have started again going back to the cash, because if somebody is doing this, the cash is the best way to do it. So uh, so first is that misconception, and that I think policymakers don't understand that, because they have been, it has been like kind of nailed down to them that, oh, Bitcoin is used by
Dark
hackers
web.
and scammers and whatnot, like these
Correct.
drug dealers. It is the worst kind of thing to scare away our policymakers, because because that due to that they become like really skeptical about everything. The second part is that, and this is also like very profound thing that policymakers should understand, and Indian policymakers should also understand this, that, and this is a very simple statement, that the genie is out of the bottle. Deal with it. Like, you cannot do anything to stop this industry. There is absolutely no way. You can try to think that, okay, you can on ramp, you can stop the on ramp into banks, and on ramp off ramp from banks, and then you can kind of trying to track and things like that. That is very, very difficult. There are some countries who have tried that. China has tried that, but has been failing for last many years. It's because of the nature of the industry and the how industry is built. And what I would recommend to policymakers is that, when they are getting these recommendations, right? So I mean, generally I feel that a lot of time the government is, or the policymakers, when they are discussing with these, let's say, the consultants, right? Most of the consultants understand blockchain, but they don't understand, they're not crypto native. What they end up giving is kind of a, I would say, kind of a misconstrued, vision of, or kind of misconstrued picture of what exactly is crypto. And then generally they also, most of the consultants come from enterprise backgrounds and KPMGs. I myself was Deloitte, so I can understand like what background they're becoming. They don't understand the crypto space. They're not crypto native, and the recommendations they would give would also be very, very superficial in that sense. So I want to recommend to government to have crypto native people, like probably have like very young, to like 30-35 years old people who have seen various rungs of this crypto industry, and then try to formulate their mind. And it is very, very difficult to do in a kind of a very democratic setting like India, where governments are keep coming going and all that, and the policy making is a very long process. It's going to be very hard for India. But then the policy making has to be done in terms of thinking how an average blockchain or crypto user, crypto startup, crypto entrepreneur is able to do stuff, and how it is very, very different than the real world. I'll give you an example. For example, let's take a very simple example of a startup. So if you are doing a traditional world startup, let's say Flipkart, right? You have to deliver to India. You need to take government regulations, and as a co-founder or as the founder of the company, also you have to stay in India, get all the licensing and things like that. Whereas the crypto startups are actually servicing global audience, and it is completely on chain, completely internet, right? So their app doesn't even need to be registered anything. They are only dealing in digital items. So what happens is that if, let's say, government starts squeezing or kind of put a lot of uncertainty around it, it's very easy for an entrepreneur to take a 3-hour flight to Dubai or to Singapore or whatever, and then go out and then set up their base there. It literally takes them to pick up their laptop in a bag and then just go out of this. So brain drain is going to be so difficult in this to control in this industry. I mean, the current standing as we have in the Indian setup, I think, and I'm seeing it. I'm seeing 90% of I mean, let's not say 90%, but 50% of all the entrepreneurs have already moved out of India, and rest 50% are on the way. They're just figuring out how we can go out. And you will see India, crypto startup entrepreneurs and governments will realize it slowly that most of them will simply flee out of the country because there are more favorable ways. And that's why, like, governments don't understand that if they try to kind of stifle this, then easily you will, because the world is like largely decentralized. There are the 200 odd countries in or geographies or regulatory kind of regimes worldwide. Somebody or the other will keep giving them avenues. If you squeeze one, the other one will give, and all that. And these will keep becoming heavens of this industry. And the value that the industry is delivering in terms of the DeFi, in terms of DAOs, like, I surely, like, I can't emphasize enough that everybody who's here, they should start to learn about a DAO, like how DAOs are working and all that. And immediately, if you become a part of it, you will realize, oh, this is the future, right? And this is the future of how we human beings collaborate with each other. Metaverses, like, everybody should also look at, like, what is happening on the metaverse side. Like, people are able to sovereignly own assets in the metaverse. So I mean, to Indian government and Indian policymakers, I would strongly urge them to start thinking about creating, like, we have special economic zones, probably create special crypto zones, right? Like, maybe, and do it in a better place like Vishakhapatnam or Goa or somewhere like that, where you create these small areas where these people can work from, because people keep roaming around, like, even if they don't need to go out of a entity, geography here, people know that they have money. They don't need to work from a single place. They keep working around from all across the world. Uh, so I'm saying that create special crypto zones where provide, like, favorable terms to these crypto entrepreneurs, and you keep figuring out in the middle, in the way, right? Nobody wants to leave India, but right now the situation is like that they are forced to, like, the crypto entrepreneurs are forced to go out. So something like that, something drastic, has to be taken. Otherwise, India will lose out heavily on this talent, and we'll see one more round of very heavy brain drain from India.
Sure, sure. So I had some other questions, but I had a related question, so I'll jump to that right now. What's your view on the crypto space and the potential it has to create not only jobs, right, but also to create wealth, right, and for us to also become a talent for global crypto companies who are looking to find talent to work in the crypto space? So what's your view on that?
Yeah. So I mean, generally, I mean, if you interact with the Indian blockchain space, like, many people will tell you that how Polygon has kind of completely bootstrapped the from zero the developer ecosystem in India, and we have done that for the developer side of things, but not like on the larger business kind of roles and all that. So Indian developers are, like, now, I think, obviously because of their talent also, but then now they have this community also where they are able to get onboarded. And we are, like, again, in terms of the developers, we have a large number of developers now contributing to the global side of things. I think your other question was
What's the potential you
yeah,
see for the crypto
different
space,
jobs.
for job creation, for wealth creation, for all that?
Yeah. So I mean, wealth creation is already, I think, it's very visible globally. Like, this industry is already worth around 1.5 to 1.8 trillion dollars. And then creating some of these startups can be, as I said in the start, that it's very hectic, but it's incredibly rewarding also. Uh, that if you are able to create a good community, good product around you, it can be like, the valuations, because of these are not singly owned entities. These are owned, largely owned networks. So the valuations are also very favorable for the entrepreneurs, and the kind of recognition and that you get in the community and all that, it's like very, very rewarding and satisfying. And you want to work for your community and make it grow. So those things are there. And we are already seeing, like Polygon itself, like, although it's now global, but we globally have grown to around 150 plus members. And other part in terms of the wealth creation as a owner, as a startup owner, I think we can all already appreciate that you can build startups in the space. Like Polygon is there, Instadap is there. I feel that in 6 to 12 months you will see a large number of like maybe 10 plus unicorns from India in the blockchain space. Recently, Biconomy did their coin list sale, and there are
And
few projects.
you're referring to non-exchanges.
I'm referring. Yes. I'm definitely referring to non-exchanges. I am. Whatever I said, I did not want to talk about exchanges at all. Like exchanges is like the retail interface, and I don't want to get into that. I'm only talking about building these decentralized applications, like decentralized music streaming, decentralized, NFT marketplaces, decentralized games, these kind of stuff. And here, like so much of value can be created. And in terms of the job opportunities also, I think one good trend that we are seeing is that the developer salary, if you see, if you are working in crypto, the thing is, because if you are, let's say you're working for a foreign company, right, they are ready to pay in dollars, right? And then with crypto they can easily pay in USDT and things like that, right? Like the stable coins. So
Correct.
I see so many developers from India now getting $100,000 plus salary right out of the college. Like imagine like 70 lakh, 75 lakh rupees salary. We ourselves pay, so at times more than that, and some of them had like like some of them, like how they have them, some of them had like meteoric rise in terms of their salaries, because we see that somebody else from outside can or is looking to poach. So if you are a, like we recently, I think we are going to hire somebody from marketing, somebody in the marketing team, which is like $200,000 in terms of the salary and things like that, which has in India it's kind of unheard of. Like when people from IIT, some of them get like it gets covered in the news, but here like a lot of developers, if you are good, you are easily able to get those kind of salaries.
So,
So in terms of
so
jobs, yeah.
just to add on that, right? And I'm playing a devil's advocate in this question. Uh, it's, I would think it's a lot easier to get away and to have so much liquidity in a bull market, right? To be able to pay these salaries. But when the bear market comes, and as we all know, it does come, right? Assuming that we are still linked to the Bitcoin 4-year boom and bust cycle, it will happen in the next 3 years sometime. What do you think happens to the industry then and the salaries then?
Mm.
And is this something which is healthy or advisable for somebody getting into the space? Because maybe 2 years later you're out of a job because your startup folded, right? I mean, what about your thoughts on that?
Yeah, definitely. Like, I mean, these things all look good in the beer market. Of course, I agree with you in that. But when I said about these salaries, I did not take into account the bull markets. I actually take into account the global salaries. Like if you are a San Francisco startup guy,
Got it.
they play 150K, 120K to the freshers right out of the college. And all I'm saying is, even if you don't get, let's say, 120K, but even if you get 50, 60K, and being an Indian, like a student who is just coming out, in fact, I am seeing people getting 50, 60K in their third or fourth year of college. So just give me one sec.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hello. So basically, even that is not bad for the entrepreneurs. And then I did not take into account the bear or bull markets. I just said that due to this flow of this money in the stable coins, somehow the salary gaps is getting streamlined. Like in India previously used to, even in the traditional world, if I go to a startup, traditional world startup, I will see somebody getting, let's say, with 5 years, 6 years of experience, like 35, 40 lakhs rupees of salary here. And then, the same guy in US will get like probably 200,000, right? So there is a huge
Yeah.
gap. And that gap is like slightly getting better, is what I wanted to say.
Got it. Got it.
Yeah.
Basically, you're saying that with crypto, we can become a captive talent pool for startups from anywhere in the world who can tap into the right talent who is sitting in India, and it doesn't matter. And people will be able to demand global level salaries
Exactly.
instead of Local. Got it. Makes
Global,
sense.
yeah, and I would say that more, kind of more globalization is the larger level theme that we are talking about. Like, it is basically, it's going to, crypto basically makes the borders melt away, right? So with these borders are melting, and it's becoming more and more globalized
Got
in that sense.
Got it. Got it. Uh, the so I know we don't have you for too much time, but I had a couple of more questions. One, tell us more about um, when COVID hit, the second wave, right? I remember that you came out publicly and said that, let's use crypto as a force for good. Let's try to get things done, see whatever we can do to help people who are in need, right? Tell us about that experience, including whatever challenges came with raising foreign funds, right? And how the whole FCRA thing applies in the context of raising money through crypto and all that, right? Just walk us through that, please.
Yeah, so I mean that was a very like when I started it actually, it was kind of a like we have this. We always say that I mean theoretically we have two kinds of responses: fight or flight, right? So till that time, like I think I mean like everybody else, I was also in the flight mode. That okay, just go stay inside the house and try to protect your family with crypto. I mean from COVID, and then with that during that time, what happened is that. My family, my parents got it, my grandma got it, and then my sister also traveled to my place, so she also got it. So I think got it again. And it was like a situation where I was like really almost like angry, and I was like, okay, not only like this is the time to fight this virus, like screw this virus. And not only I'm going to fight myself on a personal level, but I'm going to help India on a larger scale, because I was already volunteering with some fund support and all that. And and my brother-in-law and my sister-in-law, they are also the head of COVID departments in Mathura, in a prominent hospital. And I was closely getting to know what they are going through, and then how so many people are dying. And I was also trying to help locally from my side. And then so many people died, like there were days where I had 12, 13 people to arrange oxygen for them, and by afternoon 7 or 8 of them are expired. So there's like a lot of emotional toll already. And I really like got sick of it. And then I said, okay, I'm going to do whatever is in my power. So I said that, okay, the only problem why people were not able to donate crypto and all that is that nobody was willing to to take the donations, because how do you get them to India, right? So I said, like everybody wants to play wants to play safe. I don't want to do that. I said, okay, I will take the full responsibility of transparency and bringing this money into India, and I'll figure it out. And then I thought that maybe I'll get $1 million in donation over time and all that. But then it completely blew up, right? Within 2-3 days we had like 10 million, and then it went on to like today it's like a $500 million fund. And we have deployed, like we have not deployed too much of it. We have deployed around 50 million, 45 to 50 million, because of these all these regulatory issues. So how we did is that I said that I could, very quickly I realized that there is no way I can bring this money into India and convert it into in crypto, and convert it into the funds and all that, right? So that was not the right way. So what I did is that I set up an entity outside. That entity gets the crypto and donation and all that, converts it into a bank account of that entity. And then in India, the money comes only in the bank, from bank to bank in the INR, right? So there is no crypto touch point into India. Second problem, then I, we quickly found out that you can't even donate into Indian NGOs that way. Like if you want to donate into an Indian NGO, you need to have an FCRA approved and NGO who's
Correct.
allowed to take money from outside. So then we kind of started, we were very lucky to have a very solid volunteer group. So we started forging these relationships with a lot of such FCRA approved NGOs. And then now whenever, like for example, now we were working with UNICEF and some of the other bigger platforms like that. And then we directly transfer them money in the on the in INR, and then we only kind of requirement from our side is from them to provide absolute transparency into it, because this is an on-chain fund, right? So everybody
Good.
watches every single penny, where it is going and all that, and we publish online reports every few days, if not weeks, and everybody can question on any particular transaction to us. So all that, like, I think hopefully we've been able to do a good job and transparent job on that. But I'm still like very very sure that a lot of like regulatory clarity will be required from that. And then many of the times, that it's not about providing the data, it's because kind of the hassle that it creates, right?
Right.
So, but I'm that's what I signed up for, so I'm okay with that.
Okay, got it. No, thank you so much for sharing that. Uh, Finally, one last question. Your thoughts on, or any visibility that you might have as to what's happening in the policy space. Do you think there's a ban in the offing? If so, what sort of a ban do you think might come our way? Or anything that you can share being in the space that you're also already aware of?
Awesome. So yeah, and one other thing I wanted to give a shout out to IIMA also. I think Crypto Relief team is working with IIMA's, like, I think the entrepreneurship cell and all that, and we want to separate out some funds, because we realized after so much of this research and on ground experience that the long term relief and long term change can only be brought via some of these startups. So we will be probably creating a small fund to kind of jointly probably fund with the PIE, I think from Ahmedabad, to invest in the health tech startups, which can kind of result in some of the larger scale impacts on the Indian health infra. But in terms, coming back to the policy side of things, I don't think that the ban is in the offing. Like, I don't think it's coming. And Indian government, especially, I think, with Elon Musk of the world, and like big hedge funds coming, and larger global banks opening their crypto desks and things like that. I think Indian government realizes that if they go out and stifle innovation, they might end up resulting, in a very bad effect in this, which is going to be a technology which is going to touch each and every one's of our lives in some form. I don't think that Indian government is going to do that, and they will definitely, and they should actually regulate it. They should, because the capital flight will be a very big problem, AML and all those things will be a very big problem. So they should put tight measures around, around the reporting and everything related to that. But I don't think that now they are looking to ban. Most likely it will be a proper regulation, which will be very positive for Indian ecosystem. But that from the crypto side, for the startups also, I feel that Indian government, like, I mean, they have been very. I don't think that I know almost 99% of all the Indian startups. Whoever is doing anything anywhere, like, I get to know, and I don't know even a single team which has been been created any problems with by the Indian regulatory bodies. I think it is very intentional. It's not like they could have done that already for the startup. I'm not talking about exchanges again. I'm talking about the
Right.
Web3 companies. I don't think anybody has been dealt in any wrong way by Indian authorities. I think so. It's already positive. What they need to do is kind of broadcast this, that we welcome Web3 startups, and I think that's what I expect from the government, by creating these, maybe create an entity kind of structure which has some benefits for crypto startups to use that entity structure, like a company formation structure, or create these special kind of crypto zones where you can come and set up your companies, and just like be kind of broadcast that India is favorable to that, and then see, eventually learn and experience with it, learn with experience with it, and then come up with more, tighter regulations around the Web3 startups.
Got it. Got it. Okay, I'm just going to check if there are any audience questions. Just give me a minute. Okay, I think this is all we had. And I know we've run out of time, slightly beyond planned time. But thank you so much, Sandeep, right? Thank you so much for coming on and helping us understand what the world looks like from a crypto point of view, from a crypto startup point of view, especially from an Indian crypto startup point of view. And thank you for sharing all your insights on so many topics. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me here. Thanks to the IIMA alumni team for giving us the opportunity to be here. Thank you
Sure.
so much.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you.